Now he continues on, because he has the longest discourse of all. And in chapter 33, will you listen to him? He says, Wherefore, Job, I pray thee, hear my speeches, and hearken to all my words. Behold, now I have opened my mouth. My tongue hath spoken in my mouth. He said, I'm going to speak. I'm going to say something here. And he's going to insist on several great truths here. Now listen to him. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Now, this man Elihu's going to speak by the Spirit of God. He says these other men haven't been able to answer him, and he said he's going to try it now. And you remember Peter put it like this in his epistles. He said, If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. I would like to write this up in the chapel of every seminary in this country today. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. You're not speaking for God today as a minister. I do not mean to be brutally abrupt, but I'm going to be shut up. You got no business talking. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. A man came to me up in the San Francisco Bay Area just shortly, and he said to me, My, you sound very dogmatic. I said, Yes, I'm glad that got through to you, that I'm dogmatic. He said, there are other ways of looking at the Bible. And I discovered that he was a legalist, by the way, felt you should keep the 10 Commandments, and he began to approach it from the other side. He said, Have you ever thought that there might be another explanation? Well, yes. I said there was a time when I used to think that probably there were several ways. But I said the more that I've studied the Word of God, I've come to the conclusion that the way God saves is by grace. And I said, I'm dogmatic about it. I'm dogmatic, I said, about quite a few things that are in the Word of God. And it's because the Word of God is dogmatic. I'm dogmatic about the deity of Jesus Christ. He's the Son of God. I'm dogmatic about the fact that he's virgin-born, performed miracles, died a substitutionary death, rose bodily from the grave, ascended back into heaven, and is seated today at God's right hand, and he's the living Christ right now, and he's coming someday. I said, Brother, I'm dogmatic. And this fellow looked at me, and he said, Then I guess there's no use me talking with you. Well, I said, if you have something else to present, a different viewpoint, you'll be wasting your time, I can assure you. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. Now, there's such thing as dogmatic ignorance, of course. But I'm saying that when you're speaking for God, the Word of God, if you can't be sure of it, then you haven't anything to say at all. Have you ever noticed when this man Zacharias, before John the Baptist was born, he just couldn't believe it. His wife Elizabeth was going to have a son, and he was struck dumb. He had nothing to say till the boy was born. You see, unbelief is always dumb. It hasn't anything to say. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't talk a whole lot. Talks a great deal. Now, any ministry, therefore, is powerless, valueless, and fruitless unless a man is speaking as the oracle of God. And I like this man Elihu here, although he doesn't have all the truth. And we find here that he begins now by making it very clear that, as far as he's concerned, that he's nothing, and that the all-sufficiency is with God, and that actually that was Job's problem. He didn't take the place of nothingness, and that God was all-sufficient. And that's the only way that I think that any man could have an effective ministry. We are teaching today methods instead of meekness. We are teaching gimmicks instead of gospel power. And that is the thing that I believe is